The Jamestown area has received a massive amount of snow, with more on the way on through tomorrow morning as a late season storm moves across the state. The National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning for most of North and East Central North Dakota through 6 a.m. Tuesday. About 5 inches accumulated in Jamestown overnight, with 2 or 3 more inches expected tonight. With freezing rain falling before the snow, the North Dakota Department of Transportation has issued a no travel advisory, as the conditions have prompted a number of accidents. Good evening, I'm Courtney Oliver.
And I'm Matthew Nies. Welcome to the James River Valley Report. President Barack Obama has selected Walmart's Sylvia Matthews Burwell as his next budget chief, placing her at the center of the heated partisan budget battles. Burwell served as the Office of Management and Budget's Deputy Director in the Clinton administration and Chief of Staff to the former Treasury Secretary. She currently runs the Walmart Foundation. Obama also announced an MIT scientist will head the Energy Department and an Environmental Protection Agency veteran will run the EPA. Their selections signal the White House trying to move forward after the President and Congress failed to avert the $85 billion in automatic spending cuts that took effect on Friday.
Jurors deliberated for less than 3 hours before acquitting a former University of Montana quarterback in a rape trial that has played out amid NCAA and federal investigations into how the city and school respond to rape allegations on campus. 20-year-old Jordan Johnson led the school to a successful 2011 season as starting quarterback before being accused of assaulting a woman while watching a movie with her at her home last year. Johnson was kicked off the football team under the school's student-athlete conduct code after the felony charge of sexual intercourse without consent was filed against him in July. He has remained in school. Cardinals from around the world gathered inside the Vatican today for their first round of meetings before the conclave to elect the next pope. The core agenda item is to set the date for the conclave and set in place procedures to prepare for it, including closing the Sistine Chapel to visitors and getting the Vatican Hotel cleared out. The first day of discussion was amid scandal, with a British cardinal admitting he engaged in sexual misconduct not befitting a cardinal, as well as the Vatican reeling from the fallout of a scandal over leaked papal documents. Benedict's resignation has ended a 600-year tradition, altering the concept of the papacy.
As millions of Kenyans waited in long lines to vote in the nation's presidential election today, officials said a secessionist group launched multiple attacks which killed 19 people. This was Kenya's first presidential election since more than 1,000 people died in an attack 5 years ago. A group of 200 secessionists armed with guns, machetes, and bows and arrows set a trap for police in the city of Mombasa, according to the Inspector General. In addition to the attack in Mombasa, police blamed the group for 3 other deadly attacks in a nearby city. According to published reports, 4 police officers and 3 secessionists died in Mombasa, while 7 secessionists, 6 government officials, and 2 civilians died in the 3 other attacks. At least 42 Syrian soldiers were killed in an ambush today after seeking refuge across the border in Iraq following clashes with rebels in their home country. According to officials, the attack is likely to raise concerns that Iraq could be drawn into the Syrian civil war. A senior military intelligence official said the attackers appeared to have been tipped off about the soldiers' movements and prepared a well-coordinated attack involving roadside bombs and rocket-propelled grenades. They finished the attack by spraying vehicles with bullets. Al-Qaeda in Iraq is being accused of organizing the attack because the militant group is known to have a presence in the area where the ambush occurred. Coming up after the break, Courtney has some local news, and Jessica Gulseth is in with the weather.
So we're getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
The Kiwanis Club of Jamestown held a very important get-together at the Buffalo Mall over the weekend, packaging 140,000 meals to feed the hungry. The event was coupled with the group Kids Against Hunger, based out of New Hope, Minnesota. More than 300 volunteers were putting together meals of rice, soy, dehydrated vegetables, and vitamins and minerals to send to starving children all over the world. One package feeds about 6 kids and costs just over $1 to make. Owner of the company, Richard, and Kiwanis Club member Jana were happy to be on hand, helping so many people.
Our food now is going to 47 countries around the world.
We encourage you to learn more about Kids Against Hunger at kidsagainsthunger.org, and hope you can help volunteer again in the future.
The Polar Plunge is a fundraiser for the Special Olympics of North Dakota. What it requires? Volunteers to donate money and jump into freezing water on a freezing winter day. This weekend, the plunge was on Saturday outside the James River Family YMCA. 20 people, including students from Valley City State University and Jamestown College, raised $5,790 to go towards different programs for SOND. Jamestown College won the Golden Plunger Award for raising $1,399. The SOND will host 2 more polar plunges, March 23rd in Dickinson and April 6th in Fargo. You can go to www.specialolympicsnorthdakota.org for more information. A North Dakota man has been sentenced in a child pornography case. Rodney Milner of Bismarck pleaded guilty in federal court to distribution of materials involving the sexual exploitation of minors. Authorities say the 52-year-old Milner used his home computer to send images of minors engaging in sexually explicit conduct. A U.S. district judge sentenced Milner to 10 years in prison, followed by 10 years of supervised release. The value of crops produced in North Dakota last year totaled almost $11 billion, nearly doubling the $6 billion value of crops produced during flood-plagued 2011. The Federal Agriculture Department computes the value by multiplying the average price during the marketing year for each crop by the production. The state's staple crop, spring wheat, was $2.2 billion last year, up from $1.4 billion in 2011. The 2012 North Dakota soybean crop is valued at $2.3 billion, and the corn crop is at $2.9 billion, both well above totals from 2011. Turning to weather, now we have Jessica Gulseth. Jessica, it's pretty funny. Last week we're talking about spring, and now we have all the snow dumped on us.
Yeah, it's kind of out of the blue. I would totally agree with that. But this weekend, I hate to say it, but again, we might be seeing some spring temperatures. So I don't know if I should say that. Maybe we'll get another day of snow.
Hopefully no more snow. I like the spring temperatures.
Right. Well, this weekend, there wasn't a lot to talk about until last night when it began to snow. It has been snowing nonstop since about 8 last night. In town, we've got a little over 4 inches of snow already, with around a foot of snow in areas outside of town. And it's going to continue through the night until about 1 tomorrow morning. Areas like Williston and Minot will get 6 to 9 inches, and areas like Harvey and Carrington will be looking at 2 to 5 inches of new snow. By tomorrow morning, you can expect to see anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of snow here in town. Tuesday will be our transition day, a little cooler but mostly sunny with a high near 16 with a little northwest wind. Be cautious, once the sun goes down, it's going to drop below 0 to minus 5 degrees. Once Tuesday has passed, we'll see more March-like temperatures. Wednesday will kick off some warmer weather with a high of 22 for the day and only a low of 15 for the night. Thursday, a slight chance of snow with a high of 31. Friday, again warmer with a high of 35 for the day, dipping to 8 for the night. And the weekend will be warmer with highs in the 30s once again. So Courtney, like I said, kind of inching back into that spring kind of weather, but I'm crossing my fingers, no snow for next week.
No snow. We like those warm temperatures. All right, well, thanks, Jessica. And coming up after the break, Josh Knutson has sports, and Matt Nies tells us about a new star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame when we come back.
Check out this chef, right?
So gay.
Please don't say that. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
After the excitement of the regional tournament in Jamestown last weekend, it was a relatively quiet week for the Jimmies in sports, but it wasn't totally quiet. With us here now is Josh Knutson to tell us about some Jimmies who participated in track and field and some wrestling, and about the basketball teams who will be competing at nationals this coming week.
That's right, Matt. We had pretty quiet of a week with just track and field and wrestling, but this weekend, and especially the week of spring break, it'll be really busy with lots of different sports. So we'll start with 2 members of the women's track and field team competed at the NAIA National Championship Indoor Meet in Geneva, Ohio this past week. Sophomore Taylor Brown was one of 23 women to compete in high jump at the national meet. She cleared the opening height of 5 foot 3 inches on her first jump and came extremely close to clearing the next height of 5'5", which would have been a personal best. However, she could not clear that height, just scraping her calves across the bar. Brown ended up in a tie for 10th place and 1 place away from All-American status. Junior Nikki Iverson was one of 16 athletes to compete in the women's pentathlon. Iverson started off a little slow, placing 16th in the first two events of the pentathlon, which were the 60-meter hurdles and high jump. She improved to 13th in shot put and got 10th in long jump, finishing the competition with a strong 800 in which she placed 4th. Iverson ended the competition with 2,762 points and placed 16th overall. Both men's and women's basketball teams will play in the NAIA national tournaments this week. The Jimmy women, who moved up to number 12 in the final NAIA top 25 poll of the season, got a 4 seed in the field, which features 4 pods of 8 teams. The Jimmies will play 5th seeded Melno of California Thursday, March 7th at 1:45 p.m. in Sioux City, Iowa. The men's field features 16 seeded teams and 16 unseeded teams. The men will open Thursday, March 7th against Cardinal Stritch, Wisconsin, the number 2 team in the final poll in Point Lookout, Missouri. Game time is noon. 4 Jimmy men's wrestling team wrestled at the NAIA National Wrestling Tournament in Des Moines, Iowa over the weekend. Michael Nord won his first match at the 165-pound weight class, getting a bye for the first round and advancing to the quarterfinals by beating Gian Traverson of Missouri Valley College by 17-9 major decision. Nord lost to Sean Lau of Great Falls 3-1 in that quarterfinal match. Sean Blumhardt also received a bye in the second round in the 125-pound weight class, where he fell to Lindsey Wilson's Ethan Miller by 6-4 decision. Jacob Miller lost both of his first 2 matches at 175 pounds to Missouri Valley's Dylan King by 6-4 decision and Michael Gonzalez of Cumberland 6-0. Antonio Lopez was pinned in the opening round by Eric Thompson of Grandview in 1 minute and 9 seconds and lost by a 4-1 decision to Indiana Tech's Logan Rimmer in the heavyweight division. The Jimmies placed 30th out of 37 teams. And the Jimmy men's baseball team will be busy over spring break as they head to Tucson, Arizona, and will play a total of 11 games in 6 days. The Jimmies are 3-1 on the year, taking 3 of 4 games from St. Ambrose University at the Metrodome on February 22nd and 23rd. The first home baseball game will be April 3rd when the Jimmies host the University of Winnipeg, Canada. And the women's softball team will also be busy during spring break as they open their season in Arizona at the Tucson Invitational. The women will play 12 games during the week, and they will have a quick turnaround when they get back to Jamestown, as they have 9 more road games before the first home softball game on April 4th against MSU Moorhead. And finally, this Thursday, North Dakota will kick off the state Class B boys basketball tournament in Minot. The top 8 teams in the state will compete for the title over a 3-day tournament at Minot State University. On Thursday, Region 3 representative Lemoore will face off against Region 7 Dickinson Trinity. Region 1 Milner will take on Region 5 Shiloh Christian. Region 2 winner Cavalier will play Region 8's champion Trenton. And the final game of the day will be Region 4 champ Four Winds Minnemocan against Region 6 Rugby. And Matt, that wraps up kind of a preview of next week and the rest of this week. And I'm really excited to see how these tournaments go. My hometown, Milner, is in the state tournament, and I'm really excited to see them play.
Well, British actor Richard Burton finally received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame next to that of his 2-time wife, Elizabeth Taylor, on Friday, almost 30 years after his death. The career honor is part of the 50th anniversary of the movie Cleopatra, which Burton co-starred with Taylor. He was nominated for an Oscar 7 times between 1953 and 1978, but never won the prize. Burton and Taylor wed for their first time in 1964 and divorced 10 years later in 1974. They remarried the following year, the marriage lasting just 9 months. Burton died in 1984 from a cerebral hemorrhage at age 58. And that's the James River Valley Report for this Monday, March 4th, 2013. For Courtney Oliver, Josh Knutson, and Jessica Gulseth, I'm Matthew Nies. Good night.